call myself a developer educator. I work primarily with API-based developer tools companies, creating developer documentation, sample applications, use case kind of stuff. And I write about best practices for API developers.
Wow, that's cool. That's cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go to Peter. All right, so tell us your name and what you do and where you're from.
Yeah, sure. First of all, thanks for putting this together, Wisdom. I'm really excited to see the discussion. So my name is Peter. I'm from Madison, Wisconsin in the United States, and I'm currently a technical writer in the biotech industry, but I'm hoping to transition sometime soon into either software or something that is more, I guess, like computer-based, or like, yeah, some sort of computer industry. So in the meantime, while I'm looking for jobs, I'm also learning like XML and JSON and JavaScript and API docs.
Wow,
So
that's cool. That's super cool. Thank you. So let's get to Courtney. I don't know if I pronounced your name very well.
Oh, me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, I mean, I'm a teacher's assistant in North Carolina. I mean, I've always like been interested in technical writing, but yeah, I'm just trying to find a way to like get into the industry to just get experience.
Wow, that's cool. Thank you. You're welcome. Definitely you get that today. All right, so Emma Muzo.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Emma Muzu Omokiti. I'm a front-end developer. I'm based in Lagos. I work with a startup in the US.
Okay.
So sometimes I work at work. I write user guides. So I feel like it's something I enjoy. I enjoy it actually, and I blog on Hashnote during my spare time. So I feel like I want to transition into technical writing fully.
Wow, that's cool. That's cool. You're at the right place. They're marvelous.
Hi everyone. My name is Amos Manuel. I'm a content developer based in Port Harcourt. I work at a consulting where I design majorly front-end applications. And sometimes I'm working with these front-end applications. I read a lot of documentation that I believe could be presented in a better way. That was my interest in technical writing. And also I had someone who was interested in a technical writer working with me. So I also got interested in what he does. So I decided to delve with this field.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. You're at the right place for sure. So Mohammed. Mohammed Ali. That's a great boxer.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, my name is Mohammed Ali. I'm a software developer and a technical writer.
Wow.
I write on platforms like Honey Badger, Log Rockets, Linode, and other platforms like that. I'm just here to gain more knowledge.
Wow, that's cool. That's cool for sure. And definitely you must be boxing those platforms already. All right, so thank you everyone for being here. I am so much happy to set this up, and we're having two lovely speakers, professional and experts in their field. And today we are talking more about acing the interview on technical writing. But I know definitely they will have to go probably some areas in technical writing, because you need to know a little bit about it and probably things around it before you probably think about setting up yourself for interview. So I'll be calling our first speaker, Barry, then she would start up and tell us what she wants to tell us today. So Barry, the mic is over to you.
Hi, everybody. I did prepare some charts just to introduce me, and then we'll hear from Sonia. What I bring to this conversation is something that you might not hear a lot of, but I graduated university over 30 years ago. So I have been through a lot of job interviews. I've aced a few, I've flunked more than I've aced. And so I have a lot of experience learning. And I learn best by making mistakes. I learned all my technical skills on the job. They did not have careers in technical writing at the time. I'm so lucky to have been working remotely since 2007. And the best part of all of my work is that I can build relationships one person at a time. In fact, Sonia and I are former colleagues, and we love being on the same team together. This is the second time we're co-presenting. And Wisdom and I met when he was interviewing for a role at our former team, where Sonia and I were on the growth team at Tenderbit, then Ignite. So during Wisdom's interview, the company was rebranded and everything shuffled, but I'm so glad that I know both of them. And I'll leave you with a souvenir after I talk today, and I'll show you what these links are. But first we'll hear from Sonia.
Thank you so much, Mary, for the lovely introduction. And I am really excited to co-present with you again. It's such a wonderful opportunity. So, guys, my name is Sonia, and I am originally from India. Moved to Germany like 2 months ago. It's kind of a roller coaster ride right now. And so I'm working as a developer relations engineer in the Cosmos ecosystem. I'm the founder of the Cosmos Buildings. It's a small initiative which was started by me and my colleague Spurti, where we are trying to break down the knowledge of blockchain and Web3 in the simple words. I have been contributing to open source from the past 4 to 5 years and part of various communities, Apple, Firefox, and I love to teach people outside of my work. And yes, so today we will talk about how to ace your interviews, and more importantly, how to get your resume shortlisted.
That's right. So we have
Over to
some
you,
links.
Betty.
Yeah, we have some links on these charts, and I'll just click right into it. And part of it, we'll leave you these links as a souvenir. So the first thing that we know is that there's going to be top 10 tips for technical writing job searches. And this top 10 tips are going to help you have a great interview, and also to, like Sonia said, be shortlisted. The first thing you want to do is curate your LinkedIn profile. So when we found Wisdom, it was because our recruiter searched on LinkedIn and she looked for specific skills. And when we found Sonia, the same thing. So using the skills and having a professional LinkedIn. So having a professional LinkedIn profile is very important. You don't have to have a commercial picture. What you want to have is just any picture that shows who you are. You want to have a custom URL. So like mine is Barry Byron, that's my name. And Sonia's is Sonia Singles, and it's all very important. And you want to make sure that on LinkedIn you're engaged and you add value. Peter's an expert. He's on here. He and I have been interacting a lot on LinkedIn in the past couple of weeks. And that's how you get seen and noticed. And when somebody who's looking for a candidate looks you up on LinkedIn, it turns out that they can see all of your activity. So you want to be encouraging, and you want to write specific and thoughtful recommendations of people who you have worked with before, or even whose event you've attended before. And you want to have your contact information. All of this should be error-free. And you want to list your skills. And if we have time, I'll show you mine, or you can look into my LinkedIn and you'll see the skills. Sonia's the one who taught me about Linktree. And so Linktree is a special place where you can look at a link. And so for mine, it just is one place you can go to with all of your links. And you can see mine. It's going to be in our souvenir section. But that way, if anything changes, you're only going to have one link, and that's your Linktree. And you can put that on your LinkedIn resume. And you can grow this and you can add things and you can put samples of your work. Like I do not have a professional portfolio. I never have. And I always get the interview, and most of the time I get the job as well. So I just do that by using my link tree. And that's a great free tool that is available to all of us. Something about Twitter is good for people in our industry. Remember, if you're on Twitter, and if Twitter is part of your professional profile, if it's on your link tree, if it's on your LinkedIn, or if it has your name in it, you will be discovered. Our recruiters find people to hire on Twitter. We hired somebody from a Latin software front-end developer group and turned out to be one of our best candidates ever. And she's doing so great now. And I would have never thought of being recruited from Twitter, but it's true. So you will be found on Twitter. Remember, always professional, never political, always encouraging, never discouraging. And then you could use and list features like TweetDeck, which is a way to curate how you're interacting on Twitter. And if you are into open source, or even if you're not, you might want to think about it. Sonia has written blogs about how to contribute to open source software. And she got into our team because she was already a well-known open source contributor. So that was amazing. You could also build a skyline and have a 3D view of your contribution graph. Yesterday, I learned that I posted it on my Twitter that you can also build a skyline and a 3D city of how your contributions are. And how do you get contributions? You participate. You contribute to your open source. And during your interview, you will have something to talk about. And you want to be able to find your community. So when you find your community, it gives you a place that you can talk. So my community is the Write the Docs community. And Wisdom and Sonia and I have been chatting using the Write the Docs Slack. And Peter and I met at some events for Write the Docs. And it's nice to be able to engage there, and it's free. And you can just join the Slack and talk and have meetups. In my role for Write the Docs, I'm now an organizer of the Florida Social. So every other Tuesday morning, we get together for an hour and a half. It's a drop in and drop out, and everybody's welcome, and it's free. And if you don't have, maybe you host an event like Wisdom is doing here. He's hosting his event here in his community. So wherever you are, you always want to be able to have some way that will give you something to be discovered and skill building and different ways you can do that. For me, it's Write the Docs. And during your interview and helping you prepare for your interview, you want to always be curious. So what do I mean by always being curious? Did you see the way Wisdom, when he started this event, he said, hey, let's hear from everybody. Yeah, tell us your name and what you're working on. That was a professional tactic of engaging the people. So when we have this engaging the people, let me make this bigger, then we will always be curious. So authentic curiosity makes you more likable, and it helps the interviewer feel that they're being heard, and it helps build your network before it's time. But authentic curiosity helps prepare you to have thoughtful questions, and you want to be able to ask questions that the interviewer will know that you're curious. You want to be confident. Some really super easy questions to remember for every interview are, what's the favorite part about your job here? And what is a typical work day? Or what's a typical work week for this role? Like what is the reporting structure? Or maybe you want to find out about how do documents get approved? What is the cycle of people who are working in this role? So having curiosity is part of the successful formula for having a successful interview. And I heard a lot of people say during their introduction today that they're learning. So always be learning. Being a learner is such an amazing gift to yourself and to those around you. And thank you for each one of you for being here to talk about what you want to learn and how you can turn your skills into things. But look at this. We'll be ready to answer. I just put this question in here. Evidently, I need my editor too, but be ready to answer the question. How do you learn? So for me, you already know how I learn because I confessed it. I learn by making mistakes. So I'm not a person who could watch a video and learn. I'm a person who likes to actually do something. And I like to be the one sharing the screen and clicking. I learn by pairing, and mostly I learn on the job. So being able to answer that during an interview is super amazingly important. So you want to attend events, and thank you for spending part of your Friday with all of us here today, because this is just one way that we all know each other now and we're learning together. You want to attend events, and just carving out a little time for synchronous time together is so important. And if you don't know how to do it, you offer to teach. So for Sonia and I, that was a secret success in our last job. She presented to a big university with a lot of attendees and probably learned more about the blockchain during the preparation for this half-day workshop with a very prestigious audience than we would have just talking about something or learning passively. So offering to teach is the best gift you can give yourself and to others. And if you don't know GitHub, maybe you want to teach GitHub to somebody and you learn it together. Another way to be ready to be shortlisted, be interviewing well, and being all of that is to mentor others. So you don't have to mentor someone younger than yourselves. You could mentor somebody who's completely different from you. It could be someone who lives in a different place. Could be someone down the street. It could be somebody with 30 years career difference than we have it. So it was Sonia who encouraged me. She said, oh, you're going to present on technical writing, job search tips for the crypto curious. I presented to the Society for Technical Communication earlier this year. And Sonia said, don't give them a file, just make yourself a GitHub repository. And then you can always have that to share with other people. And that's the page that we're looking at now. It's part of my Barry Byron GitHub and my TechCom, and I'll show that quickly before we go over to Sonia. And we'll know that mentoring doesn't mean that it's just one way from somebody more senior in a job. We mentor back and forth to each other all the time. In the crypto and the blockchain world, DYOR, do your own research. You always want to do your own research. You cannot rely only on what somebody else says about a company, a product, a job. You need to be able to evaluate it for your own situation and how you can be learning. And when you are researching, write it down. So proofread my own work. Look, I need to do that even a little bit more today. But writing it down has a way to send a message to our own learning style, and it prepares you better for being interviewed and for finding out if that role that you're interested in is right for you. So doing your own research has so much value. You want to read everything. So before you even apply for a job, you want to find out if it's something that really is a fit for your own needs. So you want to look at the company website, read the company website, all of it. And if they do have documents published, make sure that you look at the product docs for the role that you're interviewing for and be prepared to speak about the content. During my interview cycles, I'm almost always asked, well, what do you think about our docs? What do you like about them? What would you change about them? What do you think would make them better? What opportunities would we have to fix them? And when you're reading all of this, make sure you read the job description before you even have the recruiter screen. So the recruiter screen is an important step before you get to the hiring manager. Make sure you look at the job description. If there are links in the job description, make sure that you click into every link and you follow all of the rabbit holes so that you can prepare yourself to learn more about the opportunity that you might or maybe it's not a good fit. Maybe you're not interested. The other thing is to apply anyway. It turns out that confident people will apply for a job if they only meet 60% of the requirements. But many early career people underrepresented in tech, maybe they would only apply if they hit 100% of the high points. So remember that apply anyway if it's an interesting opportunity. If you don't meet all the requirements, that's okay. And if you do get a chance to talk to somebody there, enjoy the process, enjoy the people, and you get a chance to meet people. And if you do have a chance to connect with anybody during your interview process, invite them to connect on LinkedIn. And don't just click connect, but send a nice personal note that says, hey, thank you so much for the interview. I'm so glad. Let's connect our professional networks here. Let's do all of that. And then, of course, bonus tips for every interview. Once you do get an interview, remember, join early, always be on time. If you can, be in a quiet space. And if you're not, tell the interviewer, I'm in this space. I'm going to be on mute unless I'm talking, but explain it and be professional. Wear headphones or earbuds. Try not to only use your mobile phone speaker or your computer speaker. If it's possible, get your headphones or your earbuds. Many times I see that somebody will have their camera on, but it's smudgy. You know, our iPads, our phones, and our computers, we're often handling them. Just take a moment to wipe your screen so that you're smudge free. Use the interviewer's name. Have all of the resources that we've talked about so far fresh in your mind, and have your links ready to share. And if you don't understand any question at any time during the interview, that's fine. It's okay. Then it's all right to say, I don't know. So this is a souvenir for all of you. And I want to be able to leave you with this, and you'll see it. And one of the things that you want to talk about is, well, Sonia shared my LinkedIn, and we'll just talk about having a professional URL and the link tree and the skills. So one of the things is, if you want to add the skills, here's an information. And Sonia gave us some LinkedIn. Let's see if I look here. I'll show my own because I curate it a lot. And so on mine, I have a talks about, and I put some taglines in there. Make sure your headline is different. Make sure you have a picture. I live in Florida. I like to have pictures of Florida. You want to be able to let people know you're open to work. So on everybody's profile, there's an open to, and make sure that if you say, I'm open to finding a new job, then you could say, how would you like the job? Maybe you say you only want to be remote. You can put the job titles you're interested in. You could put remote locations, and you could even indicate if you're actively looking or you're just casually browsing. The recruiters actually rely a lot on this open to here. So that's important, and you'll be able to see your own status. I haven't taken a skill quiz, but you might want to be able to take it. And it shows your activity. So look, here's somebody that was on my growth team at my last company, and he was he's making a videos. And so then I responded to one of his posts, how we could do it. And then you can see the posts that I share or reshare. Make sure that your about information tells a story about you. I think you can have so many thousands of characters. This is your chance to be engaging and tell your story. And you can put emojis in there, however you want to show up. If you do have a job, remember to provide a nice set of information that describes what you're doing. If you don't have a job, put your volunteer work in there. And whatever you want to do, have your skills. Your skills are by job now. So all of the skills are there. And this is all very interesting and informative. And then if you have education, you can put it. You don't have to. With the last time I talked to one of the recruiters where I worked, she said in blockchain, it's often not a requirement to have formal things. And then when you do have recommendations, make sure that you're thoughtful and you give recommendations, and you give them often so that you really can think. Look, I've given 200, which I didn't know, but of course I've been around for more than 3 decades. And if you have honors, you can put that, but whatever tells your story, you can do. And even the people that you follow, that will show up. That will show up on your activity. So make sure that if you're confident about what's on your LinkedIn, that'll help you get better for your interview. So I set myself a timer. I didn't want to go over our 20 minutes to talk about. And now we'll talk to Sonia, and then we'll have some interactive questions and answers all together.
Sure. Barry, can you please share screen for me if you don't mind?
Yeah, sure. What do you want me to share?
Actually, I sent you my presentation, so it would be nice. I don't know why I'm having certain issues while sharing my screen today.
Me too. And you sent it in which channel? In an email, in a Slack?
I said
In Slack?
Slack. Yeah, I can send
Okay.
it here.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, look at this. I like this. Okay, great. I am ready. I love being Sonia's co-presenter, and I love it when I get a chance to help. Okay, I am going to share the whole slideshow. Looks very nice. I haven't seen this yet. Okay, you guys, presentation number 2, and here she comes now. And here is Sonia's
Thank you
presentation. Okay.
Thank you so much, Barry, for sharing. And, before I go ahead, I would like this session to be interactive. For a few minutes, I will be speaking. And at the end, as Barry mentioned previous, I and Barry, we both are going to take questions. I would really suggest everyone to ask as many as questions you are having. So I guess I have introduced myself already. We can go to the next slide. Sure. So, today Barry mentioned all the tips and tricks on how to ace an interview. But, before acing an interview, I think the important part is getting your resume shortlisted. When I was in my graduation year, this was the most difficult thing that I was facing on how to get your resume shortlisted. What are the skills that you should have on your resume so that, the recruiters can see and they are like, hey, we want you on our team. Let's start with contribute to open source. I am sure that you have heard the word open source a lot, and even if you haven't heard, it's exactly the same as it sounds. The code is publicly available. It's built by the developer community for the developer community, visible to everyone. We can tweak it, change it, fork it, make it our own version. And the source code for software that is open source, it's completely free. And today open source is very powerful. Even in my previous job, Barry and I, the project we both were working on was open source. Open source kind of allows you to step into a group and says, hey, I don't know this thing, and someone will come offer you mentorship. You learn with another person even though you might be worlds apart. In our previous jobs, we had people from around 36 plus countries, and it was so great to meeting people outside your own hometown. But I am sure many of you might have tried contributing to open source, but you might think that you don't know this project enough well to contribute, or you don't write code, so you don't have anything to contribute. Also, I am sure contributing to open source, it's hard and intimidating. So no, now I'm not gonna pretend that these things don't happen to me, but if you keep some of the points in consideration, I am sure that it will make your open source journey very helpful. And it's intimidating for everyone, even for the people who were contributing from 20 plus years. Maybe you are not able to find the right project, unable to understand the code base, or if anything else goes wrong, we kind of not even look at it again out of the frustration. But don't worry about this. I believe that there are many ways to get involved with open source, contribute to it, and we are going to share some of the ideas that will help you to get most out of your experience. So also yeah, can you very please move to the next slide? Okay, so the first point is improve existing skills. So whether it's learning to design, coding, improving UI, maybe writing a documentation or a piece of code. It could be organizing an event like Wisdom organized right now. You can learn it by working on an open source project. As we know that the work that we do in open source, it's public, which means that we can showcase our work to the hiring managers. These days, GitHub works like a resume, and recruiters talks people on GitHub very actively. It shows the recruiters the quality of your code, how you communicate, whether you communicate effectively, and how do you approach solutions for the certain complex problems. So, do work on improving your existing skills. Next slide. Find people who follow your passion. If you may know that one of the great way to learn programming, writing is to do more code, more writing, more practice. And the other way is to know how the other people are doing it, how they approach the solution for any particular problem. So I can say open source is a platform which offers the both. Before joining Ignite, I used to write blogs, but when I joined Ignite and I met Berry, I learned, how her writing style is. I got to know, there is something outside of the box like she follows. You can have both the patrons, not only the one that you are already thinking about. So, yeah, open source is a platform that offers you both sort of group knowledge, and it also provides you a platform to become friends with people who kind of shares a common interest with you. If it gives you a chance to know the culture of other country, how the people work in other countries, being in different time zones, different backgrounds. And trust me, it's an important skill and requires a lot of time, patience, and humbleness. There are many ways by which you can, collaborate with people and organizations. And today, even in this call, you can see we are all sitting in the different worlds, yet in the same call. Next slide. Mentor and be mentored. Barry has already covered it though, so I'll keep it short. It's very important to mentor other people's, and I have also seen in especially the open source industry, it's a trend that people kind of blindly go and look for mentors, that we need mentor to do certain thing. First of all, be a mentor to someone. Provide something out of your will, not just because you want to get something out of them. And while mentoring, it offers you a lot of skills. It could be, in communicating. It could be sharing the common interests. So yeah, be a mentor and be mentored. Next slide, please. Build your digital footprint. it's very important, to build your digital footprint. As Barry mentioned that she got a lot of connections and jobs by the LinkedIn. For me, Twitter works the best. I got so many amazing open source opportunities by the Twitter. I used to write blog posts on Hashnode, and I do now too whenever I get time. And it's very important to document, to share your journey. It kind of tells the recruiters, the companies, that you are passionate about something outside of your work as well. Having digital footprint, it kind of shows how well are you versed with the latest communities. Next slide. Polish your people skill. So yeah, this is like the most important thing. Before, when I was new to the open source industry, I used to face like so many problems while communicating with others. And after being in lockdown for 2 years, I am kind of facing problem while interacting with people in person. So definitely, work on your people skill. Try to communicate clearly, be transparent as much as possible, be an empathetic person, support each other. That's very important. Next slide. Advocate yourself. There is no substitute to working hard or smart, but something we should do more often is nominating your own self for those opportunities. Be an advocate for yourself. We all deserve those opportunities and even more. So many times there has been times, when you don't even apply for that position because you self reject yourself. If you will self reject yourself, then definitely they are gonna reject you. Be an advocate for yourself. Apply for all those opportunities that you think you're not gonna get that. Also, I graduated last year only in 2021, and one of the thing that worked out great for me, even though there was no junior roles open, I used to still apply for that and at least have the first initial recruiting call, to see whether they might have some opportunities. I got pretty amazing gigs by that. Definitely, at least apply for that position. You don't know that a single application can take you from where to where. And even in my last job, it was always a dream for me to move from India to Germany, and it worked for me. You never know. Be Empower yourself, advocate for yourself. And also, the common misconception which prevails among us is that open source industry, it's all about coding. But there are many things apart from contributing to code. I will say that apart from coding, there are many other areas of the project like documentation, accessibility, helping end users. And these are most of the things that get neglected. So if you're offering your contributions in these areas, it means that you are doing a huge favor to the project and the users. No contribution is small, every contribution matters. Next slide, please. So, yeah, as thank you note, I am sure you might be having lots of questions. So, yeah, shoot on us. Thank you so much, Barry, for sharing this great.
Yeah, I just want to go back to this, building your digital footprint. That's such a beautiful way to say this. And that's kind of the souvenir that I'll leave us all with a lot of links and ways to go out. Your digital footprint is what makes you discoverable. And it's amazing to hear that Sonia discovers a lot and is discovered a lot on Twitter. And her digital footprint is obviously G rated. So you don't want to have anything that is unfavorable or religious or political or leans one way or another, if you're looking for an open, accepting community, of course, it's fair to express your opinions, but remember, your digital footprint is your journey, and you want to show up the way that you are. So it might be GitHub, and it might be LinkedIn, it might be Twitter, it could be Instagram. It could be wherever you are, your digital footprint follows you. And I remember attending a session many years ago that somebody said, yeah, build your digital brand identity. And so I do. I spend a lot of time curating it. And I'll show you Sonia's GitHub. So look at her digital footprint. She gets to put her jobs. Look at this. She's in 127 repositories. I mean, this is pretty incredible. So her digital footprint is amazing. So then if you want to look at something that I would encourage, how does it work here? Does it go to Barry Byron? So one way to do that is with your LinkedIn. I mean, here I am, LinkedIn's on the brain. But even in GitHub, I heard somebody talk once at a Write the Docs, and they're like, hey, you can have a README. And Sonia said it earlier, GitHub now is like your resume. It really is. And so you can give yourself a headline here. You can describe yourself in a README, and you could say what you want in here. And what happens, this digital footprint means that I can be giving myself a little bit more. So that's pretty amazing. So I just never really heard it say about, following the digital footprint. And I like the way that Sonia said that. Something else I really liked that Sonia said was find the people who follow your passion. I mean, Wisdom and I, all we did was we interviewed together, and we know that we want to share knowledge with people and we want to help people. And he is such an interesting way that he does that. And I love knowing that. And polish your people skills. By Sonia and I doing this presentation, I do think that it's pretty amazing that we got a chance to polish our skills to present, because it's been a while for both of us. So it's good. So volunteer. So when Wisdom asks you to speak, maybe it would be somebody about API docs. Maybe it's going to be Peter talking about infographics. And maybe it'll be somebody else here who wants to share. So I do think that all of us have a chance to build our skills and contribute just by saying yes.
Right. Thank you so much, Sonia and Barry, for that awesome, passionate. I probably say it's very, very passionate and powerful speech. And I know most of us have learned one or two things. So I know if you have any question to ask, okay, so this is the time for us to ask question and learn. So who has any question?
I have a question for Sonia. Sonia, you just shared that slide. It was, I think, a tweet that you wrote about advocating for yourself. And I'm wondering if you have any thoughts on how much self-advocacy is too much self-advocacy. Like if you are reaching out to recruiters or people at the company, like when should you just say like, okay, I've done enough. I'm going to cool it a little bit.
That's a great question. And, I think so. I'm more type of person that believes in your code should speak for yourself. Your writings should speak for your own self. So I think so. You don't need to brag about it, but maybe definitely share what you're writing. In my initial years, what I used to do, I used to write blog posts, but not share on social media because I was so afraid that people are gonna judge me because of my poor writing. That I'm not gonna share this to the recruiters because it's not up to that level. So by advocating for your own self, I mean definitely share those resources as much as possible. Also, do participate for those opportunities, because when we self reject ourselves, I think so we are not gonna get anywhere. Also, for an early career like me, I have to say yes to all the opportunities. I hope that's clear.
That is, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. So any other question?
Also, Barry wrote a nice thing that when helping others, you advocate for them and for yourself too. Yeah, I would say definitely make sure to have a group of people, at least 4 to 5 people who can speak for you when you're not in the room. And I guess I have Barry for me here. So that's very important.
It is. Has anybody here heard the story of 2 beers and a puppy? 2 beers and a puppy. Like Sonia's talking about having someone speak for you when you're not in the room. So when you're looking for your next company, there's something called the 2 beers and a puppy test. And the test is the kind of people that we want to surround ourselves with. The 2 beers and a puppy is a helpful test to determine how you feel about someone. Is sure, you'd go and have 1 beer with them or 1 tea, 1 coffee, whatever. But would you have a second event that you would share your time with that person? And if you had a puppy, would you trust that person to watch your puppy for the weekend, your new baby, your puppy? So when Sonia's talking about have 5 people who could speak for you when you're not in a room, that's just one kind of a metaphorical test from a book that's called how do you communicate in the workplace? But for me, I always want to work with somebody who I'd want to have 2 beers with and who I would trust to take care of my puppy. And I know that they would speak for me when I'm not in the room. And for me, I'm in my current job now because my last job, I had a culture misalignment. And I realized I would not give them my puppy. So I realized I need to go get a new job. And so now when I interview for a job, it's not only to see if I like the compensation or the benefits, can I afford to work there? What are the hours? It's more like, hey, are these people nice? Do they have values that align with my values? I mean, all of that is really important for me as advocating for yourself, polishing your skills, being ready for the interview, and then finding out if you actually would want to work with those people.
Yeah, sure. That's cool. That's cool. Thank you so much for that. So we have a question here. Okay, that's from Courtney. She said, someone who is new to technical writing, where should I definitely start? So is it GitHub? And she says she has experience in writing and editing as an English and publishing major.
I would recommend joining the Write the Docs community where Peter and I get to hang out sometimes. It's free to join, and all you really have to do is just show up in the Slack community. But right now, there's a book club going on, and you can read the book and correspond with people. And then the Write the Docs, I put it in the Slack right there. So when you have this Write the Docs, it's kind of a nice little place, and also it's open source. And if you see something on the webpage you want to change, don't worry. You can be an open source contributor and you could do it. And then you have a Slack network. Now, one of the things about the Slack network is what I really like is there's something called job post only. And there's almost always jobs posted every day. And it's free to join and it's free to be in here. But Courtney, one thing that I do is there's a Learn Tech Writing channel. Oops, that was our 20 minutes warning. But this Learn Tech Writing channel, see, look, they've just started chapter 1. So this would be a good time. If you did want to learn tech writing or whatever, then there's a guided learning experience with that. There's also career advice. You can ask questions about career advice. So I posted in here and I posted this event. So I felt like I was engaging, I was giving back to the community. But the career advice, people ask, what's the best way to send somebody? Can somebody do beginner open source writing projects that need contribution? And then there's look today, just right this minute, the Community Help Wanted channel. So if we join the Community Help Wanted channel, I think this is pretty interesting. It looks like there's not a lot of action in that channel, but there could be. If you want some help on your project, that would be one way. And if you have something that you want feedback on, there's a community showcase channel. But all of this is all very interesting, and it's all just there. There's even a water cooler. So if you're lonely at home, you could go hang out in the water cooler and you can just find out, like, here's a cat video. So, I mean, that's one place that you could learn is write the docs. And bringing your own writing skills is half of it. I'm so surprised in the introduction channel on Write the Docs. People are always saying, hi, my name is Barry. I have a technical writing job. I have no idea what I'm doing. So a lot of people get these jobs because they don't write. And they get there, or they know something and they land these jobs and then they learn it on the job. Or, like Sonia said, contributing to open source. So I like it. Hashnode,
Yeah.
Dev,
Also,
Dev 2. Yeah,
I was just about to say same.
I was reading it in the chat.
All right, so I also added the Google course. So I feel that's also a very nice place for you to start, because when they have their Google what do they call it? Google Season of Docs. Yeah, so they always direct you they'll always direct you towards that site. So they have very nice materials for you to start with. So you can also start from there. So I believe then when you're done with the course, then you can probably now jump into open source. So that will give you the opportunity to write more and also learn more. Then when you join the Write the Docs community, you get to join events like this. So you learn more about writing and every other aspect. So that will probably help people.
Hey, what do you think about doing the Google technical writing course and then being able to post on LinkedIn that you're doing it? And then writing a blog about your journey, learning technical writing. Peter's shifting from a medical thing or something into more something else. So he'll be writing about that. And he makes infographics to do things. So I love the journeys. And when people post that, then you add value by responding to their posts and resharing their posts.
Yeah, sure. That's cool. So Peter, I've sent you a LinkedIn invite. I probably want to have a chat with you on the infographics. So maybe I would like to have you on my next event, so you can share your knowledge on that.
I think Barry talks me up a little more than I have two infographics that I've made and I enjoy doing them, but yeah, I would far away call myself an expert.
Two is great. I have 0.
All right, so I will just accept. Then I will hit you up a message. Then we can pick it up from there.
Cool.
I have a question for everybody here. So was there anything here you could either contribute it verbally or type it into the chat? Was there anything here that you learned that you didn't know yet that you might think helped you? Like, what was your favorite thing you learned? Everybody just type in something or unmute and say what might be valuable to you so we understand what you really were touched by.
Actually, I have a question for Barry. I think it's a nice place to ask. Over your career, is it important that you have to remain in a particular company for minimum amount of time? How do you feel about that?
No, it's different now. It's 2022 and people are shifting jobs all the time. And that comes up in conversations on the Write the Docs Slack a lot, is what used to be considered job hopping. But I've been married to my husband for 20 years. And the other day I looked at my LinkedIn because that's the only way I know where I worked. I keep track on my written resume and like LinkedIn. In 20 years, I've had 11 companies. And one of them, I was there 5 years. So then you could figure in 15 years, I've had 10 companies. So that's a lot of job hopping, but it's not a problem. I don't think like it used to be. And so especially now, there's so many people who are involuntarily being made available to the industry.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
Oh, I have a question.
okay.
Sorry, I'm in Target right now. So
Shopping.
yeah, I'm with my mom. But yeah. So if someone who wants to like work for like aerospace or like the government, like I guess companies that do work with the government agencies, are those like I kind of view those as non-entry level jobs just because they just seem so much harder. Could someone who's like completely new get those jobs, or are they like looking for more seasoned people?
Well, I live in Florida, and some of the people that I know in the Florida technical writing community, actually, I've watched 2 of them in the past year have internships during college and then get full-time writing jobs in the aerospace industry right out of college. So I thought both of those big success stories were because they volunteered. Both of them. One was the president of the Florida Future Technical Writers of America chapter at the college they were in. And I was like, wow, that's so great. And I saw somebody else on the Write the Docs chat ask the same question just recently about getting into those.
I think that was me.
Yay, that was Courtney. Yeah. So, and it's John Clements. He's so great. I'm going to put his LinkedIn in here because he's somebody you could reach out to. And here's John. He's right here in the chat. Anybody, John is so great. You could talk to him. Anybody could. So,
Thanks.
yeah, I think he would be a good one. So he was an intern and now he works at L3 Harris, and I'm not sure what they do, something with